It's time for Dave Day here on SSPTV News with Dave Seaman, Standard Speaker sports editor. And Dave, I read online, actually, went to the Standard Speaker on Saturday to check out how the Schuylkill League Girls Championship went. And do you think I was the only person who was shocked by the score that Monomoy area from Division III gets a 51-35 win over Division I champ North Schuylkill?
I don't think the shock was that Monomoy area won the game. I think the shock was in the score because Monomoy area controlled the game from start to finish. And you got to realize North Schuylkill had only one loss going into that game. A loss to Abingdon Heights in non-league play. They rolled through the Schuylkill League Division I, arguably one of the toughest divisions in all of Pennsylvania. They did a great job getting through that. But Monomoy area's played well for it's been a continuation. If you look at Monomoy area's success over the last 3 seasons, you got deep into the playoffs in each of the state playoffs in each of the last 2 seasons. They won a division last year for the first time. They got to, be in the Schuylkill League playoffs, get that experience of playing at Marks Hall a few times. And you go into a game against North Schuylkill, you're not going to be, back down or be afraid of North Schuylkill. Monomoy area always plays that way. They have shooters on their team. You make a couple of shots and you play defense the way the Lady Bears can play defense. It's a recipe for a championship.
And Dave, I was shocked by the score after seeing both teams, but I think it's a testament to how good Monomoy is. And as for North Schuylkill, like you said, they're a great team, and I think they're going to be okay going into the District 11 playoffs.
Yeah, but they're going to have a tough draw. Where they are in their district, it's a tough bracket. They're in a sub-region with District 1. They have to bounce back from that loss. You'll see what happens now.
And Dave, also over the weekend, you had a column talking about, I guess, the dominance of the Hazelton area basketball team recently this season in the Wyoming Valley Conference, a string of championships in Division 1. And then they named the all-conference team the MVP, and Josh Samick gets it this year for Hazelton area. But 3 years in a row that the Cougars have had the MVP, Mike Joseph, Coach of the Year, and a couple of players on the first and second all-conference teams.
Yeah, you really could pick any of those four key players for the Cougars to be an MVP this year. I think Josh stepped up a little bit, toward the end of the season when they needed him to. Joey Grulla was out with an injury. I believe it was against Myers. They had a close game up at Coughlin and Wilkes-Barre, and Josh stepped up in that game and a couple other games where Josh really stepped forward. Again, not taking anything away from Demir Faison and Jeff Planutis, because they also played well as Joey Grulla. That foursome has been, as good as any four, not only in northeastern Pennsylvania, but in the state of Pennsylvania. And Josh, well deserved. He does everything on the floor. He's, his outside shooting is uncanny for someone his size, 6'8". He's able to make 3-pointers, but he's shown an inside game a lot this year. He's, his strength inside. He has a lot of good post-up moves inside, and defensively he's improved. He's blocked a lot of shots, and rebounding. Coach Mike Joseph has always said too, when there's a rebound to be had, Josh Samick always gets to rebound. He leads the team with rebounds. I believe he has more than 8 a game. So definitely a well-deserved honor.
And Dave, also over the weekend, I watched the NBA dunk contest. First time in a while, Donovan Mitchell paid tribute to Vince Carter, and he won. Now, Larry Nance Jr. was in the competition, and he came in second. His dad, Larry Nance Sr., won the first ever NBA dunk contest in 1984. And I'm talking about this because there's a local tie. We had Farley in recently, Dave, who wrote the book, Trumpet Call to Victory, The Final Years of Hazelton St. Gabriel's Basketball. I interviewed him, and he talked about one of the greatest players in our area, Paul Hoffman.
One of the little stories in that book, I talk about Bruce Ellis, who follows basketball around here to this day, and told me that as far as he's concerned, Hoffman's the best player ever to come out of the city. Bruce watches basketball all the time to this day, NBA, college, everything. And he was watching the first NBA dunk contest. And it was won by a player who dunked, it was like, I think 1984 was the first one. And the player who won it did it by dunking 2 basketballs at the same time. And Bruce said, I'm watching that and I'm thinking, I saw Paul Hoffman do that same thing at Pine Street Playground in 1968.
And you can purchase Trumpet Call to Victory on Amazon, and Farley will be featured on March's Out of Left Field. So Dave, Paul Hoffman, good basketball player, and the book really highlights that and just how good it was at that time. There's a lot of national stories with Digger Phelps being around and Coach he would eventually become, and also that very interesting tidbit about the dunk contest. And it came from a man who you said kind of mentored you.
Yeah, Bruce Ellis, who's right now the PA announcer at Hugh McGeehan Gymnasium for the Cougar boys basketball games. Longtime coach and scout in the area too, and he's my high school English teacher. He kind of got me pointed toward journalism and kind of nurtured my love for sports and for writing, and kind of like a mentor to me, like you said. He's a Hall of Fame writer in his own right, a renowned auto racing writer that knows a lot about auto racing, probably more than anybody in the area. Maybe Dino Alberto, I don't know. But Bruce knows his auto racing, and but he also knows his basketball. And Bruce was a coach. He was a college kid at the time, and he coached at the Pine Street Playground, and he got to see a lot of those St. Gabriel's kids that he coached, that played at St. Gabriel's, including Paul Hoffman. And Bruce tells me today that Paul Hoffman was certainly, the best player to ever come out of the Hazen area, and I believe it because he's a, wealth of knowledge, and nobody sees more basketball games in Pennsylvania and in the region than Bruce Ellis too, and he knows what he's talking about.
Dave, thank you for your time. There's a lot coming up in local sports with championships in basketball, swimming, wrestling. As things wind down in the winter sports season, Dave Seaman and the Standard Speaker sports staff will have you covered.